B Marsh Boxing, what's going on? Boxing heads and fight fans around the world. What's happening, man? This this cannoli BS, man, got me thinking that other times that the WBC has done some nut ass shit, giving a fighter a belt which they didn't even have to fight for, you know what I mean? That's basically what happened with Jamal Charlo, you know what I'm saying? Now look, man, these guys who have received belts that they didn't even earn, they were great fighters. Not taking nothing away from nobody, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I remember when you even fought for a vacant title, man, people ain't even really rate you like that. They call that a they call that a paper title, you know what I mean? They called you a paper champion. You know what I'm saying? It just holds a little bit more luster and glory when you snatch a title, beat a guy for his belt. You know what I'm saying? Not win no vacant titles or being handed world titles, you know what I mean? Being elevated from interim to full champion when you ain't even do nothing, you know? I'm gonna give you four examples, man. Four examples of times when guys got WBC world titles just handed to them. You know what I mean? I start with the thumbnail you see on this video, man. Sergio Martinez versus maybe Chavez Jr. You know what I mean? Chavez Jr. was given a world title. Who did he face? Sebastian Zivic. He faced Sebastian Zivic for a world title, for the WBC world title. You know what I mean? Sebastian Zivic wasn't no champion, neither was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, they didn't want the man, Baby Chavez, and Mauricio Suleiman is the godfather of Baby Chavez. They didn't want that guy to face the man Sergio Martinez. You know what I mean? Sergio Martinez had just won the WBC belt when he beat Kelly Pavlik. You know what I mean? So now he actually had two belts, WBC and WBO. Okay? He defended a few times his WBC title, even against the likes of, excuse me, Paul Williams. Knocked out Paul Williams in one round. Cole Cochran knocked him the fuck out. The WBC didn't want Sergio Martinez to face the man, Julio Cesar Chavez. They were protecting him. So guess what they did? They snatched that title away from Sergio Martinez, man. And these motherfuckers at WBC had a meeting to do that. You know what I mean? They had a board of directors who got together and organized a basically a coup on how to snatch the title from the man and steal the title from Sergio Martinez without a gun. You know what I'm saying? That shit was disgusting. I couldn't stand the WBC at the time because Sergio at that particular time was one of my favorite fighters. You know what I mean? Still is one of my favorite fighters. To me, probably the second greatest Argentinian boxer of all time. You know what I'm saying? You could make a case for him maybe being even third. I'd probably rate him as number two behind Carlos Monzon. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Baby Chavez fought Sebastian Zivic for some title that he didn't even earn. You know what I mean? And he got the world title. He ain't even have to fight nobody for that title. You check it. So that was a damn disgrace by the WBC. But at the end of the day, poetic justice, man. The world revolves on its axis, and there's one thing that you cannot escape on this planet, and that's what we call Judgment Day. And sure enough, Sergio Martinez laid the smackdown on Baby Chavez in 2012 and got back his world title. See, the WBC even elevated and enhanced the man, Sergio Martinez's status as a champion, man. They made him a two-time middleweight champion. He beat Kelly Pavlik, right? Then he got it again when he beat the man, Baby Chavez Jr. You check it. So WBC fucked up there, and Sergio Martinez beat the shit out of the man, Baby Chavez, and got his belt back to become a two-time WBC world champion of the world. And he was lineal all them years. Another instance is when Canoli refused to fight the man Triple G after he had beat Cotto. He decided to fight. Canoli decided to face guys like Amir Khan. That was for WBC welterweight title defense, which was bullshit. WBC put pressure on Canoli to face Triple G. Canoli bitch ass, pouting ass didn't want to fight the man Triple G. So he said, you know what, WBC, I don't like the pressure you're putting on me to fight Triple G. I don't like it. So you know what? Here, I'm not. You can have your bar. I don't want to play with you anymore. He basically gave him the belt and said, I don't want to fight Triple G right now. I'll fight him when I want to. And he left, crying and pouting like a little bitch. And that's how the fuck Triple G got a free vacant ass belt. Didn't even have to fight nobody. Got elevated. He was the interim WBC champion. He was the interim WBC champion from when Cotto was the champion with the WBC middleweight strap. And then the man Triple G, just all of a sudden, was the WBC full champion in his first title defense versus Kell Brook, a welterweight coming up two weight classes to fight Triple G. WBC shenanigans and fuckery at its finest, handing a man a belt and he ain't even do nothing for it. You know what I'm saying? Another guy we have is Lennox Lewis. You know what I mean? Lennox Lewis, he just got a belt just like that. Ain't had to fight nobody for his first world title. Not on his, not. You know, it was all on Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe decided to throw the WBC belt in the trash because they couldn't come to negotiations and couldn't come to negotiations with the man Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis was his mandatory. He ain't want to fight Lennox Lewis, and Rock Newman was keeping Riddick Bowe away from Lennox Lewis. So you know what they said? You know what? This WBC title that I worked so hard for to beat Evander Holyfield for, including two other titles, WBA and IBF. You know what? Two's better than none. So I could just drop this WBC belt in the trash and I'll still hold two belts. And Lennox Lewis, you could just have it. And he got elevated to full champion, didn't even have to fight nobody. In his first title defense, he won a unanimous decision versus Tony Taka. And there you go, just like that. Lennox Lewis is a world champion. Didn't even have to fight nobody. Not hating on him, it's just the truth. I like Lennox Lewis, wasn't really a fan of his when he was fighting them times, but in hindsight, in retrospect, after his career, he's a great fighter, and I love watching his fights. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he ain't beat nobody for that WBC strap. He was just given a WBC strap on a silver platter. You know what I mean? And I think that's bad for boxing. Shit, man. Why don't you make guys fight like, look, Triple G, he should have fought somebody. He should have fought the number one contender behind him at that particular time to become the WBC full champion. Same with Jamal Charlo. He should fight somebody, preferably fight Triple G to become the full champion. How about that? I like the idea of that. You know what I'm saying? You check it. So, what's that? How many examples I gave y'all? Triple G being elevated. Gave you an example of Sergio Martinez. I mean, Baby Chavez being elevated. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you Lennox Lewis got elevated to full champion when Riddick Bowe ducked him. And the first one I could recall, and maybe the others, man, but I'm just doing this off the cuff. I ain't reading nothing, just going off of memory, off my flow, you know what I mean? Just going off the flow of the boxing talk. Ken Norton Jr. Or was it Ken Norton Sr., excuse me. Ken Norton Jr. played on the 49ers and the Cowboys. But Ken Norton, the Pops, Ken Norton ain't fight nobody. He's a one-time world champion, man. If you go look at the boxing history books, he was a WBC world champion. Who'd he beat to become a world champion? Absolutely nobody. He was just given a belt. Here you go, Mr. Norton. Here's a WBC belt for all your troubles. Personally, I didn't like that, man. How'd he become a WBC world champion? Well, Lennox Lewis, I said Lennox Lewis. Leon Spinks had just beat Muhammad Ali for two of his straps, okay? Being for two of his straps, WBC and WBA, to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Leon Spinks had some mandatories to fulfill, and one of them being the WBC, and that was Ken Norton. He didn't want to fight Ken Norton, and I do not blame him. Leon Spinks would rather do a rematch, bigger payday versus Muhammad Ali in a fight that I think 60,000 plus, 68,000 people attended at the Louisiana Superdome where the New Orleans Saints played in the rematch, okay? That's exactly how Leon Spinks got stripped of his WBC title because he didn't face his mandatory. The man Larry Holmes was in a WBC eliminator versus Ernie Shavers. He got out of that unscathed. And Ken Norton got elevated to the world champion, WBC heavyweight world champion. He ain't even have to fight nobody. His first title defense, he fights against the man Larry Holmes. Great fight, one of the greatest heavyweight fights you'll ever see. Great tactical fight that goes down to the wire. Excuse me. The 15th round was actually the decisive factor of that particular fight. Great fight. If you haven't watched it, go do yourself a favor. Ken Norton versus Larry Holmes. And Ken Norton loses his WBC belt in his first title defense to the one and only Eastern Assassin Larry Holmes. Just like that, boom, his title's gone. Just like that, the same way he was given a belt, he ain't even had to fight nobody. So the WBC has a track record of doing these type of things. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Charlo, here you go. You're the new champ. Thank you. Triple G, here you go. Canoli don't want to fight you. Here you go. You're the new champ. Thank you. Lennox Lewis, you don't got to fight nobody. Riddick Bowe ducked you. Here you go. You don't got to fight nobody. There you go. Same with Ken Norton. He ain't have to fight nobody. Leon Spinks ain't want to fight him. They stripped him of the title. And they just handed the man Ken Norton the WBC belt, man. So the WBC, I like the WBC belt as far as how it looks. It's a pretty belt. It looks like money. Got nice green and diamond and gold on the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It got the little pictures of great fighters who've held that particular title in any particular weight class. But at the end of the day, man, these guys they just make their own champions. You know what I'm saying? And these guys, that's not their job in boxing. You know what I mean? You check it, it's bad enough they collect about 3% for every sanctioning belt and every champion who holds a belt. But now they're playing God in boxing. They're playing God. They're playing matchmaker. They're the one making fights and making up their own champions. And that's bad for boxing, you know what I mean? You check it, that's actually very bad for boxing, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, those who do know and are following the sport, they're not gonna give these guys credit, man. I don't got nothing against Ken Norton, man, but Ken Norton ain't beat nobody to become a world champion. And when he did finally face somebody, he lost. You know what I'm saying? He lost. Lennox Lewis ain't beat nobody to become a world champion. He beat the man Frank Bruno, Tony Tucker. Then he faced that man Oliver McCall, a pipehead, and he got caught with that right hand, quick right hand in between his right hand. He threw a right hand, he missed, the man ducked Oliver McCall and he caught him. Boom! Flush! Very fast. That was one of the fastest knockdowns you'll see. And the man ain't recovered from that particular knockdown in that fight. So there it is for you, man. B Marsh Boxing. I'm actually going to throw this video in my historical archives, historical accounts playlist here on my YouTube channel. Check it out. Thanks for everybody coming through. Boxing Junkie, what's good, man? What's up with you? He's up. He's in the chat. He says, "What up? What up, G? Real boxing knowledge that doesn't come doesn't come from box rec. Not at all, man. Not at all. I ain't got no box rec. You know, really and truly, 100% of the videos I do, except if I'm reading quotes off an article off a boxing scene or ESPN boxing. You know what I'm saying? Every video I do, especially with historical accounts, every old school joint I do, man, it's straight off the cuff, man. Ain't no box rack, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, look, man. I was over there, man. I was on what was it? A couple of nights ago, Marlo's Corner. Marlo's Corner was doing a trivia joint, man, and from what I heard, they do it every week. That shit was fun than a motherfucker. I even told them fellas, man, I really like what y'all doing. That trivia quiz shit. And I was smashing fellas in that joint. I'm not gonna say I got everything correct. You know what I'm saying? Those that I did not know, I just left it alone, you know what I mean? But for the most part, old school boxing, that's what I'm all about, man. I love old school boxing, you know what I mean? Every sport that I follow, and really and truly, I only really follow two sports. You know, I'll take that back. I'll say three. But really and truly, I'm not into football like I used to, NFL. I watch my Patriots. I watch every single game of theirs. Yeah, I do. But besides that, I don't give a fuck about no other team. But I do know my NFL history. Definitely know about basketball, NBA history. Boxing history is probably the hardest history to learn out of all sports, man. Because dogs, I've seen 1,000,001 fights, man. I've seen so many fights, so many fights, and it's hard to recognize and remember some guys' names. You know what I mean? I've seen guys like Miguel Happy Laura. You know what I mean? He was a great fighter with the I think he was a WBC bantamweight champion. I've seen fights of his, but I can't remember those little guys that he fought. But I do remember some specific classic fights, like maybe when he fought Gabby Canizales. You know what I mean? You check it out. You know, some fights that were not from my era when I wasn't born, or I've seen these fights, but it's hard also to remember every single fighter's name because boxing it's not a team. It's not the 1966 Celtics or the 1972 New York Knicks or the 1999 San Antonio Spurs. It's boxing is just this. There's 1,000,001 boxers. Me and you could become a boxer right now. All we gotta do is train, have a few amateur fights, and become a pro boxer just like that. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Boxing junkie in the chat says, "Nice, B Marsh. Everything's great, brother. That's what's up, man. No doubt, man. So yo, B Marsh Boxing about to seal the deal on this live stream. Like I said, man, check out my playlist. I'm about to throw this video in my historical accounts or historical archives. All right, check it out. I got numerous. I got a playlist. You check it. So B Marsh Boxing. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please share and subscribe. Shout outs to the Boxing Junkie coming through in the chat and to everybody who hit the thumbs up. And I'm gone. Peace.